Good afternoon, Small Town Solutions. Today I'm going to show you how to clean, maintain, descale your hot water on demand, otherwise known as a tankless hot water heater. Now this video is only going to apply for people with a unit like this. This is a Navian. There's several different kinds of tankless hot water heaters. This is the one I have. So today I'm going to show you how to clean it, do your maintenance, what you should do once a year. You're going to save yourself a little bit of money by doing this yourself. I'm not really sure what a plumber charges to do something like this, but if you can do it yourself and save yourself some money, that's awesome. There's a couple things you're going to need to do this job. One thing you're going to need some tankless hot water heater descaling. This is something you can purchase at most of your hardware stores. You also can use vinegar. Seeing as how I haven't done this in a little while, I'm going to actually use the proper stuff. I'm not going to use the vinegar trick, but you can use vinegar if you need it. Other thing you're going to need, good old Phillips screwdriver. Simple. Another thing you're going to need, good old standard bucket to catch all the water that comes out of this thing, because there is going to be some water. And the other thing you're going to need is a tankless hot water heater pump cleaning descaling kit. Now I did a review on this guy, what's in the bucket. You're going to see it again today, but if you want to see that video of what's in this bucket, look in the description below and I'll have this in there with a link to my affiliate Amazon account where you can purchase this yourself. So let's go ahead and get into this. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to turn off the power to this unit. You're also going to want to turn off the gas, and you're going to want to isolate this unit from your water system in your home. Now over here, I'll have pictures of this. Over here, I have the hot water out and the cold water in. Some units don't have this. Mine does, so I'm going to isolate it there. Down here, we also have isolation valves for when we go ahead and hook up the pump. So the first thing you're going to, like I said, you're going to want to do, shut off the power by pulling the main power. Then you're going to want to turn off and isolate your water. Then you're going to want to go ahead and take off the cover. It is just 4 Phillips screws right here. I'll have pictures of that as well. And you're going to take this cover off, and I'll show you what you see inside. Now that you got the front cover off of your hot water heater, you can really see what's going on in here. This is the actual unit. Hot water comes in here. You can see the fire up here. There's some electrodes over here that actually start the fire to heat up your water. As you can see, there's no hot water that sits in this unit. That's what makes them a hot water on-demand unit. The only reason that you actually have to open up this unit is to clean the screen on the air intake. You're going to find that these 2 pipes here, that's air in, that's exhaust out. There's a screen underneath this pipe in behind this blower motor. So the only reason you'll have to open up this unit is to get to that screen to clean it. You can try doing it with this fan in place. I find it easier to do it without the fan in place. I'll show you how to take that fan out really quickly. Now to take that blower motor out, you can see the 3 screws to take it out. There's a screw here. There's a screw back underneath here. You can just see right underneath my thumb, there's a screw. And then up here, there's also a screw. You also have to disconnect the power, which is right here. Very simple. Once you get those 3 screws out and that power disconnected, this whole fan can come out. I've already gone ahead and done the fan on this thing, so I really don't feel like taking it out again. But as you can see, right back there, that's the screen we're looking for. I'll have a picture in the video here of what that screen looks like when it's pulled out and what kind of crud is sitting on top of that screen. That makes us, it doesn't want to burn very well if that screen is plugged up. Like I said, you should do this once a year. But like I said, that screw, this little screw right there, and that screw comes out, and then this thing just pops off, slides to the side. You don't got much room. You slide that to the side, it disconnects, and then this whole blower motor comes out, and you can go ahead and clean that screen. Once you've gone ahead and cleaned that screen, you're pretty much done inside of this unit. You don't really need to do anything else inside here. The only other thing that you're going to have to do while doing this is you're going to have to clean the water inlet screens. So what I'm talking about with those is down here underneath the unit, domestic water in. The black plug and this white plug also are cleanouts. They're also very easy to clean, and that's where that bucket's going to come in handy because there is water inside of these. Once you go ahead and pull this clip out, this whole piece pops down. This one's also very simple. It's just a twist, pulls down, and there is a filter inside of that. You're going to want to clean both of those. These are what those 2 plugs look like. This is the small little white one, and this is the one on the freshwater inlet screen. As you can see, there is a little bit of crud on this one. So you're just going to want to go ahead and rinse this guy off and reinstall it. This one I've already cleaned out. It did have a little bit of grime inside of it, but not too bad. But this is the main one. You got to make sure you get this nice and clean. Once you got them nice and clean, you can go ahead and reinstall them. The next thing we're going to do is to do with these isolation valves and hooking up the descaling pump. And there we go. We have our pump already set up. As you can see, I got cold on blue, red on hot, pump and bucket, chemicals. It's a 1 jug of that chemical to 1 gallon of water. So I'm a little bit heavy on the water, but that's okay. And then the red hose just goes back into the bucket to circulate. Now you want to make sure that you have this set up to go in the flow of your hot water heater. So going from cold side to hot side. Do not reverse flush these things unless specifically told to in their owner's manual. If you don't know, always go with the flow of water. So like I said, I have the main water shut off up here. But now we're going to turn off these isolation valves. We're going to turn off the side and open up the top ones. Then we're going to go ahead and plug the pump in and let this guy go for about 30 to 45 minutes, give or take, or until you feel that your hot water heater is nice and clean. You can hear the pump is on and working. Not all that loud. It's pumping pretty good. The water's already getting dirty, so I can see that it needed descaling really badly. So yeah, we're just going to let this go for about a half an hour, and we'll come on back and I'll show you how to put everything back together. Alright guys, it's been about a half an hour to 45 minutes, and as you can see, the water is looking actually pretty clear. But don't get me wrong, there was a lot of gunk that came out of this when this thing all started. So I know it's done its job. So we're going to go ahead now here and unplug this pump. And then we got to do what's called a backwash. Now inside the unit, you're going to have all your chemicals up in here. So you're going to want to backwash it. The easiest way that I've seen to do this is you go ahead and unplug your pump. You go ahead and unhook your blue hose, which is your pump in and cold water. Leave your red hose, your out connected. We're going to still use that. Go ahead and remove your pump out of the bucket, unhook your hose. Go ahead and close off your isolation valve here, this one. And then you're going to want to open this, which will let cold water back into the unit. The reason we're leaving this here is because we're going to flush from here and come back out here. Then if your hot water heater system has these valves, that's your cold water into the hot water unit and out to the house. You're going to want to go ahead and open the cold water into the unit. That's going to bring cold water into the unit, around flushing it. Make sure everything is still turned off and unplugged at this point. And then it's going to come out through this hose back down into your bucket. And that's just a good way to flush out the unit and get rid of all the chemicals that you've used to descale it. So as you can see, I've gone ahead and disconnected the pump, emptied out the bucket of the chemicals, gone ahead and turned on the cold water to the hot water unit, but I still have yet to close this isolation valve. So right now we have water coming to here, but this is closed. This one is still closed as well, so it's totally isolating the unit. Now if you look, we'll go ahead and open this valve, which is going to let cold water flow through the unit and come out this hose into this bucket. So you just want to slowly open it. Don't crank it. There you go. Look at all that bubbles and everything, right? All that is the cleaning solution. And it's just going to flow like that for a second or two. You might want to have 2 buckets handy like I do, just to make sure you get it flushed correctly. Now that you've done your backwash and you got your pump all stored away, you still want to clean that. You're going to go ahead and put the caps back on the isolation valves. Open up each side of those isolation valves, this lever and this one, and go ahead and return that now to the open position as well. Go ahead and plug in the hot water heater, and you're set to go. Make sure when you're opening these valves, you do it slowly. The unit has been emptied now, so you don't want to force a bunch of water into it right away. So the way I've done it is I have both valves, cold water in on your right, hot water out on your left. Those have been opened fully. Down here, I still have the cold water isolated, the cold water in, so it is not open right now. The hot water out has been opened. So all we're going to do is very slowly crack this one open. Give it a second. Let it build its pressure. And there we go. Now we're fully open. Do yourself a favor, check for leaks. I don't see any. And there we go. We can go ahead, plug it back in, turn on the gas. You're going to still want to flush this from a faucet because there still could be contaminants in it. Yes, the container does say biodegradable, but you still want to do your due diligence and make sure you flush it out. Just for demonstration purposes here, I'm leaving the cover off of this thing. I've plugged everything in. It's plugged in up top. I've turned on the gas. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a faucet, and I'll show you guys what you hear when one of these turn on. So there we go. Now the hot water is kicking in. You can see there we got the fire. There we go. Fire is now burning. The default setting is 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what it's going to come up to. Yeah, here we can see in there the fire is giving her. Cold water's cold. Hot water, that's already hot. These are much quieter if you have the cover on it, but I don't have the cover on it right now just for demonstration purposes. You can hear her just giving her. Now's a good time to look for leaks, now that the water is running, so we'll go down here. I've had the little white plug here leak a few times, so if you have to change the O-ring, I highly suggest it. And there we go. And that is how you maintain or do your maintenance on one of these tankless hot water heaters. Like I said, it'll be a little different for each one of these models, but this is what I have for a Navien hot water heater. And there we are, guys. So that's how you go ahead and clean a tankless hot water heater like I have here, the Navien. If you're curious about the pump and the kit I used, I'll put a link in the description below to the Amazon affiliate link for that pump. You can go ahead and buy it yourself. And hopefully this will inspire you to do a little bit of your own maintenance. This would probably have costed you $300-400 for a plumber to come and do. It took me about an hour and a half to do it myself, and I've saved myself a lot of time, and I can do it more often. These should be done once a year. Like I said, I haven't done this in 3 years, so it was in desperate need. Right now it is running. You can hear that. That's because I'm flushing out the lines, flushing it, and making sure everything's good and working, and everything's good and hot. So if you have any comments, questions, please drop me a line below. Like I said, I'll have the link below. And I'll also put the link to the video of the unboxing of that pump, which gives you a little bit more information on that pump. And always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Thanks for coming. See you again next time.